Welcome to the 43rd episode of ML Backstage. My name is Mars Luna.
And I'm Ethan.
And we're introducing this podcast straight from the 6th dimension. This is a music commentary podcast hosted by just Joshua Luna once again. And we're going to talk about my latest single, Halley's Comet. Yes, this song is about her, and she has no clue whatsoever. Holokaiki Tovez and Kainalu Kamai are unable to make it on this episode since Joshua decided to record this episode last minute right before he goes to work. Earthlings, grab your popcorn and let's get started. Back to planet Earth we go!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 43 of the ML Backstage podcast. My name is Joshua Luna, and I'm normally joined by my co-host Holokaiki Tovez and Kainalu Kamai. They are my best friends since high school, and they've been a part of my creative journey ever since the beginning, really, and been tight forever. But the ML Backstage podcast, for those who are new, so glad you decided to check out this podcast and listen. The ML Backstage podcast is basically a podcast or a time capsule, really, that chronicles my musical journey and odyssey as the quote-unquote space alien singer, cosmic prince from the 6th dimension, Mars Luna. I've recorded numerous albums and EPs and singles, and basically this time capsule podcast goes a little bit behind the scenes and recap some behind the scenes stories of what happened during the creation of this song or this album or this EP. You know what I'm saying? And it's something for me to kind of look back on and be like, oh, this is what happened with when this was made and when this happened. You know what I'm saying? And it's been a fun little journey. And Holokaiki Tovez was supposed to be on today, but he got the time differences mixed up because he's in Georgia right now and he's ahead of me by 3 hours, and I'm in Vegas, and my other co-host Kainalu, he's at work right now and he's 3 hours behind me in Hawaii. So they're not as frequent as far as hopping on because of time differences and schedules and stuff like that, as much as some of the earlier episodes that you can check out on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, but I'm here and you'll see me every single episode. And today we're going to talk about Mars Luna's latest single called Halley's Comet, and let's get this thing cracking. Halley's Comet was released about 9 days ago. It's crazy work. 9 days ago. But this song was actually a thing last year. And a friend of the podcast, Scott Yago, also mutual friend of ours, shout out to him. He sent over a little beat they made last year, and he was looking for lyrics on it, and I was listening to it, and I had lyrics already written down that kind of fit the flow of what the beat was, and I sang over it. Scott liked it, and he put that thing together. It's actually like a minute long song, but the latter half where I did some soliloquy and monologue and character and basically just it's kind of like a split, I guess, if you if you listen to it, it'll make a lot more sense. But the song is basically about missed opportunities when it comes to finding love and meeting people that you might be interested in, but you may have met them at the wrong place or at the wrong time. I personally don't believe that there is such thing as a right place, wrong time. If you meet someone that may be right for you at the wrong time, that really is the wrong person at the wrong time. And that's basically what happened. And it's happened multiple times to me over the course of the last decade. And you know what I'm saying? Might as well just write a song about it because it's a part of my life experience. And, you know, I haven't been on the market for a while now and still not, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? And it'll give me time to be more sure of myself and uh, focus on focus on what I got to focus on with, with work. I actually had, a couple of work things that I had to take care of before doing this podcast. So, again, with going back to getting the hosts together, like it's been it's been hard trying to schedule everything, but that's what happens when you get older, right? And you have more responsibilities to take care of. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I still get to do music on the side and do Mars Luna stuff on the side. And you know, there's a lot of Mars Luna stuff coming up in the next couple months. And the next year actually should be a really busy year for him. So it's trying to get everything right for that, as well as taking care of stuff that I need to take care of for work. Got um got a fun little work event coming up on this weekend, and we're trying to prepare for that. So got to make sure we get everything right. You feel me? And also, um, Halley's Comet. Sorry for sidetracking there. That's probably my ADD kicking in, but um, Halley's Comet is also inspired by the actual comet Halley, which appears in the solar system every 72 to 80 years. And kind of like how my love life, people just kind of come and go, and I kind of come and go, you know what I mean? And it's easy to kind of think about, like, man, what would have happened if this worked, or what would have happened if that worked? But there's really, no use directing your energy towards something um, that's just simply a hypothetical situation. Um, you know, eh, Things will happen in their time as long as you kind of intentionally put your best foot forward. And yeah, so I've been off the market for quite some time, but it's all good. You know what I mean? I've seen people who I've kind of talked to on and off get married and have kids and stuff like that. And you know, again, if it's the wrong person, if it's the right person, wrong time, it's really the wrong person at the wrong time. So, um, so yeah, shout out to all the girls I've loved before. You know what I'm saying? Um, but before Haley's Comet dropped, I had an opportunity to record some vinyl for this boutique studio in New York or in Brooklyn called Leesta Vall Studios. Shout out to Emily Nobumoto and the squad over there. I've actually reached out to them in January when my voice was kind of cooked, and actually around the time that Haley's Comet was in production, um, because I was kind of looking for opportunities that I wasn't really able to find here in Vegas, and I just wanted to, see what else was out there, you know what I mean? And not really anticipating or expecting any kind of response from any of these things that I was reaching out to, any of these events and shows and recording sessions, that I wasn't anticipating a response from any of them because because they were not locally based here in Vegas. And oh, and speaking of ADD, I recorded Halley's Comet when, I had laryngitis and I was recovering from it. Halley's Comet you know, recorded last year, was recorded last year in around November, December, and it was finished around January of this year. And um, going back to January, I, you know, I reached out to Leesta Vall because one of my peers did a session for them this year, and I was like, oh, you know what? Why not? Why not just try it and see what happens? And and basically, they found my Spotify and they liked what they heard. So I was actually supposed to go to record at their studio in November. Um, but once my grandpa passed and I had to go back home, I I couldn't really fly out anymore for the remainder of the year. And I was like, well, um, I told them I couldn't record anymore, and but I told them I was interested in recording from home. So I did my recordings for them um, like about a week or two ago, and I had a recording of, some new orbit jams such as Green Light, One of a Kind, and some unreleased songs that are set to release later on next year. And it was fun. It was fun kind of uh, revisiting some songs that I haven't really touched in a while. Um, it's kind of a weird cycle of what's new and what's old is really what's old you know, is new to people who haven't heard it yet, right? And so it kind of gives people an opportunity to hear some songs in a different light. So shout out to Leesta Vall for giving me the opportunity. And and yeah, it was fun. And another thing that happened was in a small way, I got to um, indulge in a little tour prep um, to help out one of my favorite singers right now, Russell, um, as he prepares for his Dearly Loved tour. Dearly Loved is an album that Russell made that's actually my album of the year, if I'm being completely honest. And there's a song on there called Heartbreak that I've listened to pretty much every day since it came out. And I was determined to learn the song and make a piano cover out of it. And he saw it and on TikTok and Instagram, and he was digging it. And that cover was done in like March, and a couple weeks ago, like probably at the end of September, or no, actually the beginning of this month, beginning of this month, Russell reached out to me on Instagram, and he told me he loved my cover that I did of Heartbreak, and he asked me like, would I be able to, do, record like a little backing track of the song and for him to use on tour. And he has a lot of turn up songs, so there's really no use to have have a you know pianist on tour if he only has one song that's piano driven. So I recorded the track for him, and he was digging it. And there was like a few small things that he wanted me to fix, and I made it work for him. So shout out to Russell, man. Like that was a really validating thing for me because it gives Heartbreak a whole different, you know, different sentiment, different sentimentality, a different sentimental effect on me is what I meant to say. And it was really it was really that was really validating because I was kind of like losing confidence a little bit um because I was getting cooked every single Sunday for church and for work. So, it's all good. Shout out to Russell. Um, I'm gonna try to make it to his LA show. It's like a, once in a blue moon stretch. But can't wait to hear it on tour and see how he does. He wanted, and I did it in a different key from him. He recorded Heartbreak in the key of C, so his voice is kind of like Bruno Mars a little bit, and his range is crazy. And I couldn't he I don't necessarily have Bruno Mars range or Russell range, so kind of have to dip it down back to like G sharp. And he wanted to do Heartbreak in a lower key, or basically the key that I did it in. So, you can find the cover on TikTok and Instagram, and it's Mars Luna, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, like that was a really validating opportunity and um experience for me. So shout out to Russell, man. You make it cool to be Filipino for real. But on all seriousness, yeah. Um, so gotta get my words right. Um, so I thought about recording uh a longer take of Halley's Comet. So the song is like about 2 minutes long, and it's actually kind of split into two parts. So one of them is like the actual song, and the other half is like a soliloquy and monologue thing that you know what I mean? Like that was uh crucial to kind of making the song a little bit longer. But I wanted to split it into separate parts because like, you know, the the monologue is something that can be heard in like, random TikTok videos as well as the actual song part, right? Because a lot of these TikTok videos are like um a minute long, or like when it first started it was actually just 30 minutes and 15 seconds. And a lot of Instagram reels started from TikTok. And I wanted to kind of talk about like how, like, I guess the science of recording a TikTok song, and how you know TikTok messes around with our attention spans. Because like it's been said before that humans have a shorter attention span than a goldfish does. And a goldfish has an attention span of like 9 seconds or 8 seconds or something like that. And well, and according to the University of Richmond School of Law, they uh, they put out an article on the TikTok brain and whether we can save children's attention spans. Um, and one of the things that the article talked about was, it talked about the effect of short form videos, and how like TikTok is characterized by short form videos, and you're trying to like maximize the amount of content that you can fit in that short TikTok clip, right? And how TikTok videos can um stimulate people's attention and stuff like that. There is a benefit, and you know there it there are a lot of pros and cons to that, right? And as a result of the short form videos and content, and how short form content is kind of like meant to cram everything in this minute and a half long, 30-second, 15-second video. Um, it's it kind of trickled down to music. And I've kind of experimented with that a lot this year, and in particular with Halley's Comet, because the song itself is like a minute long, and the monologue is also a minute long. But like there is, songs used to have a structure of like having verse, chorus, or verse, chorus, or verse, pre-chorus, chorus, another verse, chorus, bridge, and then another chorus again, which is kind of like a standard 3 minute and 4 minute song. Um, I think my mindset has kind of changed on that a little bit in the sense of like, if you said everything that you need to say, then you don't really need to add anymore, right? And I felt like with Halley's Comet, that was the case. Like I crammed a lot of the lyrics of that song into the first minute. And you know, I wanted to add another verse and another chorus in there to kind of make it feel like, um, you know what I'm saying? To kind of make it feel like it's an actual song. But but that but that's kind of like a concept these days. And Haley's Comet actually went through some uh name changes. Scott said that it could have been called Never Let You Go, because I repeat the Never Let You Go sequence in there a couple times. And, eh, the original title was actually called Halley's Comet. And it was kind of talking about a certain girl that I felt like I missed an opportunity on. But that's, like I said, that's happened multiple times. And I decided on Halley's Comet because, no, the actual comet Halley appears once in a blue moon, really. And, you know, I don't know when I'll be able to you know, find a girl that I can be fascinated by again. So, yeah, that's where Halley's Comet came in. And it was actually supposed to be released a lot later. And I was supposed to keep working on it some more. But um looking at the lyrics here, it said late nights, lonely nights, longing for your warmth while I'm dealing with the cold, silent nights, sullen nights, been practicing my patience while I'm waiting for you. I've kept you in my prayers from the moment we met, and I've dreamed of you by my side since the day that you left. I haven't been in love in so long, and I'm afraid to read the signs wrong. So if you come around again, I'll never ever let you go. And the more I kind of, played around uh with it on the guitar and with, the beat that Scott sent me, I realized that I really didn't need to add anymore. Like I said everything that I needed to say within that 1 minute, and see if I can milk that minute. You know what I mean? And I added a whole, I added a whole monologue and soliloquy talking about like, oh, it's been a whole, I've fancy myself as the cosmic Casanova and, the intergalactic love hotline, and that's cool. You know, but if they see you for who you really are, then, that's all that matters. And it kind of tied into a little bit because there is some foreshadowing, ahead of that. So it's, there's a whole, I kind of made that version specifically for TikTok and Instagram, but I was able to squeeze a whole song out of that. And if you communicate what you have to say in the song, then there's really no need to add more if it's just gonna be redundant. You know what I'm saying? So I would say you don't have to be. limited by a certain form anymore. It doesn't have to be that way, but it can be if you're able to write, a full song, then by all means, that's great too. You know what I mean? And I think TikTok kind of helps shape, how songs sound like nowadays, and for better or for worse, what I'm saying, like, you know, it's entertaining as a consumer, so whatever. All good. And you'll never know what's viral these days and what certain songs will kind of trend. So yeah. All that to say, I created this version of Halley's Comet specifically for TikTok, and it's a yeet for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Um, uh, but before I get to the next section, um, this this episode of the ML Backstage podcast is unofficially sponsored by Celsius. Shout out to the goats. And this month's flavor um is wild berry. You know what I'm saying? And kept it simple this time because the color of Halley's Comet was purple, and no, there aren't really a whole lot of purple Celsius flavors out there, and wild berry was the closest one. So if you're looking for some energy, essential energy, um, then Celsius is the drink for you. You're not going to get too turned up. And full disclosure, like every show that I've done as Mars Luna, whether, to get into the Cosmic Prince character, I've I've downed one or two energy drinks on show day. And Celsius is the one that doesn't get me all it gets me hyped, you feel me? So it's getting me through this podcast right now. And if you're looking for some good pre-workout, I would say that Celsius will do the job for you. It's helped me through it's helped me stay awake throughout the day. It's helped me get through my workouts, and it helps me get through my shows. You know what I'm saying? And Celsius has made some intergalactic flavors as a part of their cosmic lineup. So and fun and funnily enough, all the flavors that Celsius has used is has corresponded with some of the Mars Luna album covers. So shout out to Celsius. Go pick one up at your local Target, your Walmart, um, and your local gas station or convenience store. Really, it's highly recommended. It's not a substitute for water, but I highly recommend it as something to consume when you need some energy throughout your day. So Celsius, live fit, essential energy, accelerates metabolism, and it burns body fat. Shout out to Celsius. Anyway, we've reached the point of the podcast where the central part of the podcast is um, I usually ask a question, whether it's a philosophical question, whether it's a funny question, whether it's a general question that pertains to the the message of the actual or theme of the actual song, EP, or album that I've worked on under the Mars Luna name. And today's question is, what is the general perception of let me rephrase that. What is the general perception of rejection? Ooh, that rhymes. And why do we want someone or something that we can't have? Hmm. I think it goes to the grass is greener on the other side thing versus the grass is greener where you water it thing. So a few of my bosses have said that the grass is greener where you water it, right? And it depends on the context of the situation, and you know, um, I've been rejected several times this year, like searching for opportunities and, you know, and as far as like finding love is concerned, I don't think I've actually gotten rejected. Well, I have. I have actually. I've gotten rejected before. And that was the last person I talked to put me in the metaphorical friend zone, which I don't believe exists, by the way. Um, and she only saw me as a friend. And looking back at it, that's what she saw me as. But when you are infatuated with someone or something, you'll do whatever you can in your power to make sure that you get that person or thing that you want. And some sometimes you think too far ahead as far as like envisioning a future with them, whether it's in the short term or the long term. Um, and a lot of it comes down to what are the long terms and short term benefits, right? And the perception of rejection is that, it goes with the rose colored lenses and rose shout out to a Mars Luna song. And you know it's basically um why I don't want to say like drown yourself in realism, because I'm personally am a realistic person. I'm a realist. So I don't really romanticize a lot of things. um but rejection is magnified when you romanticize certain things. And you know when like I said, when you're infatuated with someone or something that you can't see yourself without, um, rejection is going to hit harder when that happens, because it's like, dang, like you have to reset your brain process and your heart all over again to, or to like, dang, like I gotta reality hits, right? And be like, oh, well, that's that's not a thing anymore, right? Like this person just rejected me. Now I gotta figure out how to move forward now, right? And I think we want someone we can't have is because it kind of it kind of goes back to the grass is greener on the other side thing. If you try to pursue someone that's supposedly out of your league, then it's because the perception that you have of them is, it's better than the reality most of the time. And you only see you only see things that you like about that thing or that person, and you think that your life will be better with them around or with that thing in your life. But but only time will tell once you have that certain thing, or you reach that certain goal, or you end up having that person, where you actually have to start seeing that thing or that person for what it is, good, bad, and the ugly. And oftentimes I try to see things from the good, from the bad, from the ugly. But when you're trying to pursue something or someone, all you see is the good. All you see is the possibilities. And there's nothing wrong with that. Um, but once there, you have to kind of balance yourself with a realistic mindset as well. But there is a difference between realism and pessimism, and there's a difference between realism and optimism as well. So it's a fine, it's a juggling act, right? It can also be a balancing act. And I don't know if that really answers the question that I have, but the general perception of rejection um is basically framed around the mindset that you have, whether um, it'll definitely hit harder when you romanticize certain things, or romanticize certain people that or certain things that you can't see yourself without. And we want someone that we can't have because it will boost our it will boost our own social standing, and it'll also make us feel better when we see someone that's out of our league, or you get the job, your dream job that you never thought you'd have. You know what I'm saying? Because it makes us feel better. So, um, it doesn't necessarily mean settle for less, but it it mostly means to be self-aware. And if you want to get that dream job, or if you want to have your dream girl, you got to, be the best version of yourself at all times to make sure that, well, not at all times, but visualize and be the best version of yourself so that when you do, or when or if you do get your dream job or get your dream girl, then it wouldn't be a surprise because you can actually see yourself at that level, and then real confidence comes into play. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was kind of a lot, but that's probably the best answer that I have. I've never been great with my words, but let me know in the comment section, uh, or in the Instagram stories, um, what about, what is your perception of rejection? Why do you want someone or something that you can't have? And why is that a natural human thing? I love interacting with you, um, especially on Instagram. And yeah, shout out to those who've been watching and listening to the ML Backstage podcast. I can't believe that it's already been episode 43. And it's something that I can look back on when my when this whole odyssey, reaches its finish line. You know what I'm saying? And thank you so much for listening and watching uh this episode. Um and we've reached the end of this episode. You feel me? So next month I do not have a Mars Luna single lined up because it's a lot going on. It's election season coming up, and I'm not really a political person, but I would say, I'll say, make sure, stay true to your convictions, um and do the do what's best, you know what I'm saying, and to make the world a better place. Um, politics are always going to be flawed, but I believe politics is basically just, it's just it's like a term for just the way things work. And you know, and voting, doing your civic duties to vote basically will help make the United States a better place. Um, these politicians are not saviors. They're humans just like me, just like you, but that's probably as political as I'll ever get. Just vote. You know what I'm saying? And yes, because that's going on, and there's a couple of other Mars Luna things happening, um, that right around the corner. Some really big announcements coming up within the next few months, and just kind of taking a break next month to kind of recalibrate and let stuff breathe a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Next week I have, what do I have next week? This Yeah, I'm supposed to have a photo shoot next week with with friend of the podcast, Angela Moonji, aka Moonji. Shout out to him and his wife, Kara. Supposed to have a photo shoot with them next week. Gotta confirm it. And no performances yet. I'm kind of been chilling, and I feel like I'm now getting into a groove with just life, man. Because life was so hectic the last couple months, and I'm looking forward to kind of slowing down a little bit. Um, but yeah, thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the ML Backstage podcast. If you liked what you heard, you can find it on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Apple, whether it's YouTube. Um, if you liked what you watched and listened to, subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying, and help us grow. You know what I'm saying, and hopefully next month we'll have a special guest on. Uh, so so it's always fun having a special guest on, and yeah, uh, like I said, no new music next month, no Yeet November, uh, but keep on streaming Halley's Comet, Beetlejuice, Wolverine 2, Rigel, Orion, Constellations, the Solar Eclipse version, One of a Kind, New Orbit, all the releases that happened this year. Um, it's been fun trying to, just kind of releasing music carefree. But I'm looking forward to this break next month. And there will be the last single of the year, a Christmas song. A Christmas song at the end of the year, a cosmic Christmas coming up. So just be on the lookout when that happens. And thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm gonna, stop yapping now and stay tuned for the next episode next month. And as Mars Luna likes to say, embrace your odyssey, embrace the strange. Yeah! Yeet. Bye, guys.
You know what? I'd be damned if I ever see Aurora Star again. And I'd be absolutely astonished if Joshua finds his girl before me. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the ML Backstage podcast. If you liked what you heard, follow us on Spotify and Anchor, and subscribe to us on Apple and YouTube at ML Backstage. You can follow me on Instagram, X, and Facebook at It's Mars Luna. You can find all my music on Spotify and Apple Music and on my website at itsmarsluna.com. Thank you for streaming Halley's Comet and copping a vinyl for yourself. There will be no Yeet for No Yeet November, but hopefully there will be a special guest next month. See you back here for the next episode. Bye!